Hi everyone, welcome back. So the Sephora savings event is here once again, and I'm going to be giving you my top recommendations for the sale if you're interested in participating this time around. I'll put the sale dates up on screen here for your convenience, but I have a whole lot of makeup to recommend, some hair care, and some fragrance as well. So let's get into today's video. I want to start with my hair care recommendations. I feel like I got really into hair this year, and K18 has really made a huge impact on the health of my hair. Before introducing their products, my hair was pretty dry and damaged. It's gone through the ringer. My natural hair is very thin and fine. I do have extensions, so I do heat style my hair a lot. With using these products, it has really helped to heal my hair, and I can wear it in my natural curly pattern, which is really exciting. I'll throw up a picture right here. You'll see what it looks like without any curling products. I was just at the lake and this was my hair that day. One of my favorite products of theirs is, of course, the well-known leave-in molecular repair hair mask. This has really repaired my hair for sure. It's really pricey, I know that for sure, so that's why I'm recommending it in this video, so you can get a % of it off. And they actually have a little kit that I also want to recommend in a moment, but this stuff is incredible. It really just gets into your hair and repairs those bonds. It doesn't feel really hydrating or moisturizing. It doesn't feel like a typical hair mask in that sense. It just seeps right into your hair and it does the work. And it's really helped me take care of my thin and fine hair strands, especially because I went from having red hair, which I had to bleach my entire head to get to that red, and then I went to brown, and then I wanted it in between of a brown and a red, so I had to bleach my entire head of hair again to kind of get the tone I wanted. But this definitely helped me in that process. Their Peptide Prep Detox shampoo is incredible. I don't use this every time I shampoo my hair, only when I feel like there's a lot of buildup and it's just needing a fresh start, oily hair, and this just helps to really get in there, detoxify everything, strip all of the hair products I've been using. I actually used this duo today, so I feel like my hair is looking extra shiny and gorgeous. And there is a holiday kit with these two products in it, the Ultimate Reset and Repair Hair Mask and Shampoo Set. So you get a full size of the mask and a mini of the Peptide Prep shampoo, which I think would get you far because you don't really need to use this every wash. It's just kind of like a nice reset. So I would totally recommend that little kit if you're interested in trying this out. Plus you get a little guy this. And the last K18 product I wanted to rave about is their Airwash Dry Shampoo. This is my favorite dry shampoo ever. I can't say enough good things about it. So what makes this special is that it's not a classic aerosol dry shampoo. It's not a powder at all either. It's actually wet. So I'll demonstrate it a little bit right now. And you only need a small amount of it. Most days, I'll just go in with 2 sprays, one in the front, and I'll kind of lift my hair like this, and I'll go like that. And that's basically all I need. You can go overboard and it feels a little bit starchy. You'll have to see what your minimum is for sure, but for me it's 2 sprays and it just does the most. By the time you put the cap back on, it's dry and you're able to kind of restyle your hair. And my favorite thing about it is that it doesn't cut the natural shine off my hair. A lot of other dry shampoos kind of mattify my hair, and I feel like it just makes my hair look really dull, and it highlights my baby hairs and stuff, so I look super frizzy. But it just makes your hair feel completely freshly clean again, and it doesn't just last one day. This is something I picked up the last VIB sale, and I will be repurchasing it now. And up front, this feels very pricey, but you have to take in account that this has lasted me 6 months, and it will maybe go potentially to 8. I'll just say 7 just to be safe. I would have had to buy so many of a classic aerosol or any other shampoo. This has been such a game changer for my hair. This is the Fable and Mane Holiroots hair mask. This is my all-time favorite hair mask. This is one of the most hydrating and deeply conditioning hair masks I've ever tried, but it doesn't leave a residue. When you blow dry your hair afterwards, your hair doesn't clump up like it's greasy or anything. It completely rinses out, but it leaves it feeling so silky and rich and hydrated and tangle-free and frizz-free. It does it all. And my last hair recommendation is this thing right here. I purchased this the last sale as well, and I use it so much. It's the Mane medium hot thermal heating brush, curling styling brush. I think I got the order wrong, but my poor one looks like it's been to Italy and it's leaning like the Tower of Pisa. I've dropped it a few times, but thankfully it still works. The bristles on this brush don't get hot. Only this little teal plate here does. So you're able to get like a really nice smooth effect, and you're not going to burn the heck out of your hair. And it doesn't get super hot, so you're able to work the same section a few times to get the perfect bouncy, wispy looking curl. Now I want to talk fragrances. So this one took me by surprise. This is the new YSL Libre Flames and Flowers. It's my new favorite like warm fall scent. I've only had it for a month, and you can see I've made quite a dent in the bottle. Oh, does this smell so good. Like, I've never been a fan of the other Libre fragrances, but this one is just so me. And I've been looking for a new warm fall scent because all my other ones kind of bring me back to not so fun places. Like, I think they smell good, but you know, fragrances just bring you back to moments in time. And I can't wear the replica by the fireplace anymore. I can't go back there. And a few others had to get passed along. I can't. But this has been my new favorite fall scent. It's warm and cozy. It does have a little bit of sweetness in there. I don't find it overly floral. Honestly, I just really smell like a warm, cozy scent with a little bit of like a fresh musk. Like, it feels like a clean warm. Doesn't feel like a super headachy, sweet warm. It's fresh but cozy. And the notes are kind of interesting. The top notes are lavender and bergamot. The middle notes are orange blossom, lavender, coconut, lily, and palm tree. And the base notes is vanilla. So I think that's where the coziness comes from. Everything else feels very fresh and like floral or spring-like, but the vanilla just really brings it back down to the cozy level. I even wear this to bed. It's that comforting to me. It's truly become my new replica by the fireplace replacement. It doesn't smell like it. It just has that same cozy effect on me. So this has been my newest favorite perfume, and I think we're going to go the long haul too. This is Glossier You, and I actually purchased this years and years and years ago, I think for like a past Glossier review video, but I just recently started to really like it. And whenever I use this, I get the most compliments ever, and people telling me I smell good, especially from the opposite sex. So if that's something you don't want, don't get this one, but it is true. What they say is true. Men go wild for this scent, and I do too, honestly. I find it to be very different for what my typical tastes are. It just feels very clean, a little bit musky. It just smells human, if that makes sense. It just smells like someone's natural scent, but in the best way. Like, they smell super clean and fresh. They have their life together. Like, they put their laundry away just when the washing machine and the dryer has done their job, and then you don't just leave it in the dryer for days. That's what it smells like. It just feels earthy, slightly floral, very clean, just very comfortable. So this one's notes are iris, pink pepper, ambroxan, and ambrette. They have two new ones. I want to sniff them in store. I've seen really mixed reviews. But now switching gears to something more on the sweet side, but nothing sickening. So my favorite vanilla scent you can get at Sephora is the Kayali Vanilla 28. I purchased the Big Daddy a few years ago. So this one is, of course, very warm, but it's not too sweet smelling. Like, it feels like a mature vanilla scent. It doesn't smell like a bakery. It doesn't smell like it's going to give you a headache. And it's not a heavy vanilla scent either. It is very like uplifting when you smell it. There's a lot of freshness to it, which I think is why I'm so drawn to it. So this one's top notes are vanilla, orchid, and jasmine. Its middle notes are brown sugar and tonka bean. And the base notes are amber, amberwood, musk, and patchouli. So that's where it gets that kind of cozy vibe. And the last one I wanted to recommend is also from Kayali. It's the Pistachio. It's the Pistachio Gelato 33. Ooh, this has been such a favorite of mine as well for a while. It's way more on the sweet side, but it's again not too heavy, nor does it feel like it's going to give you a headache. It still has like that fresh, uplifting feel to it. Oh, it just smells like nothing else out there. It's just another very comforting, more sweeter scent. Oh, it has also like a little bit like of a powdery sniff to it too, which I like. This one's got quite the pyramid of notes. Are you guys ready? So this one's top notes are, of course, pistachio, ice cream, bergamot, hazelnut, rum, and cardamom. And then its middle notes are lily of the valley, pear, jasmine, peony, geranium, raspberry, and white peach. And its base notes are whipped cream, marshmallow, cotton candy, tonka bean, lukewarm, don't know what that is either, sandalwood, cacao, and cedar. So there are those super sweet scents, but they're balanced with the woody scents as well. So this is another more sweet, but Again, still comforting. And when you mix these two together, it creates something beautiful. That's what I'm wearing today. And whenever I like walk up and down the little hallway I have in my apartment, ooh, I smell good. And they actually came out with a set including both of these. So you get a 50 milliliters of the Pistachio Gelato and a 10 milliliter of the vanilla. So you can smell like me if you want with that kit. So those are all the scents I wanted to recommend. So if you like the more fresh, clean scents, this one's the way to go. If you like the warm, comforting kind of fall scent, this one's the way. And if you like the sweeter, warm scents, these are awesome as well. I feel like I yapped about fragrances way longer than I anticipated. So let's go through makeup now. Starting with base, I have two foundations I wanted to recommend. The first one, this is the one I'm wearing in today's video. It's the Urban Decay Face Bond Foundation. Now, I love this stuff, not for every day, but on days where I feel like I want like a really flawless, blurred, poreless kind of vibe. This one can have quite a bit of coverage. I'd say it's like a nice medium to full. So what makes this special is that it's a 3-in-1. So there's obviously it's a foundation, but there's also a niacinamide serum in it, and there's also a powder. So it kind of self-sets and it creates a really interesting blurred, softened effect. But if you set this with a powder that has similar qualities, oh my goodness, does it ever create something beautiful? And I'm not someone who's usually drawn to a matte finish. If you've been a subscriber of mine for a long time, you would know that I'm more into like a natural glowy skin look, but oh, this just really changed my mind and opened me up to the matte side. And a little bit of this goes such a long way, and it's so transfer proof. It just is such a banger. And I wanted to include my everyday kind of go-to foundation, and that is the Makeup Forever HD Skin. I've raved about this so much. You probably know my whole spiel by heart by now, but this is such a adjustable foundation depending on what your needs are. You can get a really light coverage look or a super high coverage look, and you can also adjust the finish. You can make it look super, super dewy or super, super matte. It just does it all, and it is compatible with all those finishes and coverage levels. It never looks streaky, nor does it ever look cakey. It's just incredible. The only concealer I have to recommend in today's video is the Serum Concealer from Tower 28, and they ate with this concealer formula. It's so good. It has like that classic skincare, very lightweight, serumy texture, but it has such a potent amount of coverage. So if you're going for a day where I want a lot of coverage or I have something that I want to correct, I'll use this. And I only need the smallest amount underneath of my eyes. I'll use a little dot here and on the outer corner, and it blends out flawlessly. It doesn't settle into my fine lines at all. It has so much coverage, but it's very smoothing and softening, and it doesn't enhance anything whatsoever. This has just been such a good concealer. It also wears beautifully as a foundation. Oh my gosh. And it's also been my go-to for correcting things. It's powder time, and I have 3 to recommend. These are like my top 3, not just from Sephora, but just in general right now. The first one is an OG, but it's the Huda Beauty Loose Setting Powder. I like how it's a mattifying powder, but it doesn't take away like all of your humanness, I guess. Like it doesn't look uncanny when you set your entire face with it. You still have a subtle amount of dimension, but it blurs out your skin. It makes you look so soft. It also prolongs the wear of your makeup so much. It's just such a good classic powder, and it never looks too much on your skin. Even if you apply quite a bit, it never looks like an obvious layer. It just has a very fine finish on your skin. Another loose powder that I've fallen in love with recently is the Makeup by Mario one. This one is so good. It's the Surrealskin Soft Blur Setting Powder. This is the setting powder I have underneath of my eyes today. It gives a very blurring effect. It does have a bit more of a corrective aspect to it in comparison to the Huda Beauty. I feel like this one's a lot more sheer in comparison to this one. This one has a little bit of coverage, if that makes sense, but it's not too crazy. It's not like an actual powder foundation in any sense. That's just the difference I see in between these two. And my last powder that I wanted to recommend is the Kosas Cloud Set. This is the powder I love pairing the Urban Decay Face Bond with. This is the powder I'm wearing all over my face today. It's so good at creating a flawless, cloudy matte base. It's stunning, and I love to touch up my skin with it throughout the day. It doesn't ever like layer up and get cakey. It just has such a good blotting quality to it. And they also recently launched tinted versions. They came out with a yellow, peach that I have here, as well as a pink. When I'm wearing like a cool toned blush like I am today, I'll actually use this on my cheek because I feel like it makes a really pretty transition. And if I were to go in with like a peachy blush, I would for sure do the same thing with this, and it creates such a nice effect. So I wanted to quickly mention those as well. Now let's get into cheek territory. So for bronzers, I'm all about the Makeup by Mario products, like the sculpting stick or the skin enhancer. So the biggest difference between these two products are their intensities. So the stick is far more intense. So this is the stick and the skin enhancer. You can see that this just adds like kind of like a serum-y veil of bronze, whereas this you can really sculpt your face with it. And I actually like using both of them, or one or the other. I'm wearing the stick today because I knew I wanted to wear a full face of makeup today. So I'll always reach for that one in those cases. You can sheer it out as well to make it like a very natural effect too, if that's what you're going for. But if I'm going to be wearing makeup, I'll usually go for this. But if I'm going for a more natural or everyday kind of look, I'll go to the skin enhancer. And you guys know my love for this product. It's such an interesting and unique product. I've gone through a few and you can see I've hit pan on these two. I use the shade light or light medium. This adds such a nice soft sculpting vibe to your skin. It truly makes you look nice and bronzed. It also has that kind of balmier texture and shine, but it doesn't have the tackiness of like a balmier product. It just has like a really comfortable feel on your skin, especially for something that's on the perimeter of your face where your hair is kind of meeting your face, you know. It doesn't get stuck into my bronzer ever. It just makes me look really nice and defined and just dimensional. Oh, it's just such a good product. If you haven't tried it yet, please do. If you're not into the bronzing tones, they thankfully have blush versions of that formula and they're so nice. But my favorite colors in the blushes are Barely Blushing, which is like a perfect everyday color. If you don't know what to go in with, that's perfect. It can pull more pink or peachy or kind of brown. It's just like one of those magic blush colors that are just easy to throw on. Or I'll use Perfect Pink, which is kind of more livening on my skin. It's a little bit cool, but it still has quite a bit of warmth. But thankfully that product led us into blushes, and I have quite a few to recommend. The first one in my lineup here is the Dior blushes. Now these have been a favorite of mine for so long, and they have launched some newer colors. I think maybe it was even last season, but they feel so new and exciting to me. They have such nice colors. I'm just watching my 4 top favorites. I'm wearing the classic viral favorite on my cheeks today. That is the pink one, which I swatched right here. But you can see on my cheeks, like it just kind of settles in and it looks a lot more impressive when you actually put it on your face. Because when you swatch them on your hand, it doesn't show like the proper effect. They only look impressive once you actually try them on your cheeks. Like what I'm wearing on my cheek to this swatch right here looks completely different. This actually looks fine, whereas this you would think would look insane on the face. But anyways, yeah, pink, berry, cherry, and rosewood. Those are my top 4 favorites. I love berry for fall, cherry for summer, and pink and rosewood for all year round. They apply very softly at first, but you can build them up, and that's my favorite when it comes to blush. I don't like them to be intensely pigmented or else I kind of panic and I just always over apply. Another blush I wanted to recommend is this one. It's the Artist Blush from Makeup Forever in the shade Wherever Rose. This has such a soft, truly buttery feel in the pan, and the effect on your skin is just so lovely. It's very cloudy and beautiful, and I swatched it in such an awkward spot, so here it is. I feel like I'm gonna do like a little puppet show or something. Can you see it? It's a soft, berry, rosy, everyday kind of pink. I feel like when I naturally blush, I kind of turn to this, but this one is of course a little bit more mauvey in tone. Oh, I love it. I just feel like it makes me look alive and so cute. It's my favorite. If you aren't drawn to this specific color, but you like how I'm describing the texture, please swatch them in store to see if there's something that's up your alley. The texture and just the ease of use is so beautiful. These here from Huda Beauty are my favorite liquid blushes. These are it for me, and she recently came out with these 2 new colors too. Ooh. But I'll swatch my favorites here. This is Makeup Forever Wherever Rose. I just swatched it there for something I want to reference. But these are the 4 colors I love from Huda Beauty. So we've got the black cherry color, which is perfect for fall, or even for winter, it kind of gives like an I'm cold look. This is Strawberry Cream, probably my most worn because it looks so good with the Makeup Forever Wherever Rose on top of it. Oh, delightful combo. So nice if you want like a super blushed look. It looks so cute together. And then these are the two newer colors, which I did swatch in a recent video. So if you want to know how I did this makeup look, please go to this video. The only thing I changed up is the few shimmers I used on my lid and in my inner corner. But the two other colors are Coco Loco and Latte. But these are so nice to work with. You can see they look a little bit glossy in the swatches, but that's because it has a super microfine pearl that makes it look shiny and dewy. But when you actually put these on your cheeks, they have that blurring powdery look with the dimension of the pearl. It just kind of combines all of my favorite things, from like a powder blush to a liquid blush to like a pearly blush to a matte blush, all in one. It's just like all of my worlds collide into these beautiful liquid blushes. And I love the packaging of these. Like, they look so glossy and edible. I want to eat them. They look like jelly, maybe that's what it is. Wouldn't be a recommendations video without the Patrick Ta blush duos, and I would say that these two shades are my top favorites, although a lot of the shades are super gorgeous and I use often, but these are my most reached for. She's So LA, which I think was my first one ever. I bought this like years ago. And then Oh She's Different. So up top are the creams and down here are the powders. So you can see the powders have a little bit of a soft pearl to them as well. The creams are a little bit more glossy and balmy. I like having the same color in either formula. It just allows you to have so much choice if you just want to use creams or powders that day, if you want to have fun experimenting and layering either side. You can't go wrong. And the last blush I have here to recommend are the Clinique blushes. What's interesting is that these actually start out as a liquid and then they're pressed. So I initially thought they were kind of like a baked product, but they're so much more interesting and different feeling than a classic baked product. But here are my two favorite colors. So this is Black Honey, so you can see it's a lot softer, and this is Cola Pop. So if you want something a lot more dramatic, I feel like these are in the same realm, but just different intensities. But as you can tell in the swatch, there is some shimmer in this formula, but it doesn't give like an obvious shimmer effect. It honestly just looks like a cream blush on your skin, but you get that diffusibility and the application of a powder, which is so fun. And also powders can be a lot more long wearing than a liquid or cream. But yeah, I'm Black Honey addicted, so these had to be in here. Now getting into eye products, I have quite a few eyeshadow palettes I wanted to recommend, which is exciting to me. I feel like I'm getting into eyeshadow palettes again, which feels refreshing. So I have some of my everyday go-to palettes and the palettes I use to build funner looks. And then I have some fun like additional palettes. So my everyday go-tos are for sure the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes. I prefer the neutral one. I do have a neutral undertone to my skin, and I like to either go for like a cool tone blush and lip or like a warm tone blush and lip. And this just suits all of that, just because it's right in the middle. But if you prefer warm tones, then the original one is more for you, but I love using either one on its own, or I'll mix them together. I just love these palettes. I love how condensed they are as well, but the pan sizes are pretty good, and the formula of the eyeshadow is just so nice. They're not like immediately like a pressed full-on pigment. They're really nice and buildable. So you can achieve that gorgeous ombre, or you can achieve like a really nice dimensional look by building these shadows softly. Like, they're not sheer in that sense, but they're just really user-friendly and buildable, which I love. And for everyday palettes, these are my number twos for sure. These are the Patrick Ta palettes. I think my most used is still the original Major Dimensions eyeshadow palette. This doesn't look like an old one. It's because it didn't survive my move, so I did repurchase it. But I love this palette for its soft, like peachier neutrals, and it's really nice deeper colors and these kind of like topper style shimmers. And I just love the addition of the cream shadows. I feel like it just ups the versatility again for me. I'll use these as my eyeliners if I'm going for this palette. And the Major Dimensions 3 is equally so fun. This one's just all matte though, and you get a warm row and a cool toned row. So if you're like, oh, I really want both of the Makeup by Mario palettes, maybe you want this one. It's kind of the perfect balance between the two. So those are the palettes I like mindlessly go to for every day. So now let's talk about the funner eyeshadow palettes. So this first one is the Icy Nude palette from Huda Beauty, because I feel like this is the condensed version of a lot of the other palettes. I feel like this is more toned down than the Rose Quartz. Like, there's not as many as of the like colorful shimmers as that one. This one's more of like the neutral everyday version of Rose Quartz in my brain, and it feels like it's more customized for me and my preferences, if that makes sense. Like this has become one that I'm just like mindlessly reaching for every day, and I've never had that with a Huda Beauty palette. Usually I'll whip these out for like a specific look I have in mind. If I'm going for like a grungy look, I'll go for the grunge palette, and on with those kind of things. Like I have to have a specific vibe and a vision. I just don't automatically grab those other palettes for some reason, but that's not the case with this one. I have been reaching for this one mindlessly. The only shadow I don't understand is this one here called Bling. It's like one of those just pressed glitters. It's just a little bit grainy. It's not my vibe. That's the only shade in here. I wish it was something else. But other than that one shade, I have a whole lot of fun in here. This is what I used to build this look aside from the shimmers. If you missed out on the Urban Decay Moondust limited edition palette last year, they actually brought one back this year, and I prefer the way it looks so much more because it actually looks like the Moondust eyeshadow singles. It's the Urban Decay Moondust Space Cowboy Quad, and in this palette you get a few different finishes. So you get the classic really glitzy beautiful Space Cowboy shade, and then you get like kind of like a smaller glittery version of it down here, and then these are a mixture between these and like a satin silky shade. I love layering this one over like a bronzy look, and then I'll add a little bit of this to just up the magic. I'm going to add a little bit of Urban Decay Moondust to this so you can see what happens here. If you apply a sheer amount, it's not going to disrupt what you've got going on underneath. I have worn Space Cowboy by itself a lot, and if you really pile it on, you get that effect with like the bronzy base. It's so pretty. But you can see it just adds like such a pretty snowy sparkly look to your eye without adding a super opaque base. And the last palette I have to recommend is just truly an artist's dream, and it's the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 5 Freedom palette. Now this has a variety of shimmers. It's all shimmers in here. There are so many different formulas. There are some really creamy foily textures, some really nice satin sheens, some really pretty sheer colors with like really fun shifts to them. Just a huge variety from glittery to like super fine shimmers and satins. I swatched quite a few on my hand here, but these are the shimmers I'm actually wearing on my eyes before I added Space Cowboy, of course. I'm wearing this really pretty violety pink, and then it also turns like a really pretty like yellowy peachy tone. My favorite shade in the palette is this one here because of how see-through it is, but when the light hits it, it's just insane. And I think the construction and thought behind the packaging is really interesting. So you can move around all of these shadows if you want, but you can also take each little palette out. This is constructed of 3 little palettes of 6. So if you want to take 6 to go, you can, because underneath this right here is a mirror that you can also use as a lid. And thank you to those of you who said you can also stack the other 2 mini palettes underneath as well. This is the first time I'm trying this. You can take this to go. And then there's a little pochette, which I actually have no idea where I threw in my office right now, but I think that is so fun. Like if you're traveling or if you're a makeup artist, like this is so much better for kit space. Or if you want to be like, oh, I want to take this set of 6 shimmers, and then you can place your single matte shadows or even like depotted blushes and bronzers. You can just create a whole cheek and eye and face look in this palette. I think it's so fun. This palette is so pricey, and I understand why, because of like the palette construction, the packaging, and all of the different formulas and finishes and all of that. I know it can't be cheap to produce all of these super different shimmers, but if you're someone who's a makeup artist or you're an artist and you love wearing a lot of color and shimmers and playing with textures and all different types of finishes, this is an artist's dream. But if you're someone who doesn't super love shimmery shadows or colors, like obviously you do not pick this up, you'll never use it, it'll be money wasted. But if you're someone who loves it, like this is the perfect time to save a little bit of money on this super pricey palette. But I think it's just like the funnest thing ever, and I'm so beyond happy and lucky to have it. I don't have a favorite mascara you can get from Sephora because I'm just all about the Clio Kill lashes. So let's get into eyeliner. My favorite pencil liner for like very rich and opaque looks are the Milk Makeup Infinity Longwear eyeliners. And these are very long wearing, but also very creamy. So you have a lot of working time, but these stay put in my waterline. They're really good at smudging or creating really crisp eyeliners as well. I just can get everything I want done with this one eyeliner pencil. And the last liner pencil that will actually lead us into lip liners as well are the Makeup Forever Artist Pencils. I've been raving about these forever, but they have just like the best colors and such a fun texture and concept because you can use these all over your face. You can use them on the eyes and the lips. They're safe for that. So you can create a very pretty monochromatic look with using one as an eyeliner as well as your lip liner and even blush if you apply enough of it. But I like the classic colors for eyes because they apply a little bit more sheerly. They're easier to use for like smokier look. I really enjoy the nude pencil in the waterline because it has kind of a sheer look to it. It doesn't add like an opaque layer, so it's very brightening and eye widening, but it doesn't look off. It looks really natural. Before I move on, I'll mention my favorite colors. So that beigey one I was just talking about is Boundless Bisque. The brown is Limitless Brown. The white is All Around White. Oops, pushed too much pressure on it. And the black one is Whatever Black. Now these next few are my favorite for lips. We have Wherever Walnut, Anywhere Caffeine, and lastly, and my top favorite, is Universal Earth. Oh, it's such a beautiful rusty red. So those are all of my favorite colors from that line, and they actually have a little holiday kit, and I have it in my hands here. So in here we have 5 shades. We have Whatever Black, All Around White, Anywhere Caffeine, Wherever Walnut, and Limitless Brown. And these aren't full sizes, they're actually minis. So if you're someone who loves using these and you're tired of like transferring them from your purse to where you get ready, this might be a perfect option for travel and to carry around in your purse. I know I like doing that. I'll always buy like my top favorite lip liner pencils double, so I can have one in my purse at all times and one in my office at all times, so I don't have to continue transferring and losing things all the time. And I can't talk about those without mentioning the extreme version. So these ones are solely for the lips, but if you are someone who likes to wear a lot of lip oils and lip glosses and you want more of like a crisp effect, you're going to love this version of the artist pencils. They come in the same classic best-selling shades, but they're a lot more intense in the finish and a lot more long wearing. So those are some of the shades here. We've got Endless Cow, Limitless Brown, Anywhere Caffeine, and Wherever Walnut. Although these are pretty brand new to my life, I know they're going to become huge favorites because I'm such a lip oil and lip gloss girly, and sometimes I want more of like an intense look from these here. This is the Makeup by Mario lip liner in Smoky Pink. I love this. I'm wearing this liner today. I think this is such a pretty lip liner color, especially if you go in with a lot of cool toned lips or just glosses in general. I feel like the color is super flattering. It has a lot more cool tones to it. As you can see, it has like a nice contour color, but it's still pretty pink and mauvey. I feel like it flatters a lot of lip colors I go in with, and it's just such a unique tone. I can't get enough of it. So I wanted to briefly shout this one out. Other lip liners I wanted to recommend are the Freck Makeout Club lip liners. I'm so in love with these. My favorite shades are 4 and 3. 3 is my most worn for sure, but on days I want more of like a rusty color, I'll go for 4. But I also have the other shades that are available. I'll swatch those too. So we've got 2, 5, 1, 3, 4. I think the Freck ones are so beautiful, not only for the colors that are available, but they're super long wearing, and they also offer like kind of like that cloudy, soft, blurred lip line look while still contouring your lips beautifully. It just has like that softened look. And another super long wearing lip liner formula that I'm completely in love with are the Fenty Beauty lip liners. And these are my 3 favorite shades. So the first one is Peanut Butter. I swatched it right here. This next one is Rubber Bands, which is a little bit more, which is similar but has a little bit more contrast, and it's a bit more on the cool tone side. And my other one that I reach for all the time is Riri. So those are my 3 faves that I use, and these are so creamy, really, really nice to work with. They blend out really beautifully and they smudge well, but once they set down, they set down. Oh my gosh, and they do not move. I know I filmed a swatching video of me putting them all over my lips, so I'll put a few clips of that on screen so you can see, but those are all of my favorite lip liners and eyeliners. Now let's finish strong with the other lip recommendations. So these tinted lip balms from Summer Fridays are no stranger to the internet, but I'm also a huge fan of them, especially these 2 colors. I think this was super limited edition. I don't know if it even exists anymore, but I know Cherry does, so maybe I won't rub this one in your face too hard, but it's the birthday cake one. I really like these because they do have a good amount of pigmentation, especially for something that's lip balm and lip care forward. This is Cherry right here. I loved it in the summertime. I wore it all the time. It's really highly nourishing, but it also has like a glossy effect to your lips, so it makes your lips look really nice and healthy and plump and plush. These are gorgeous. There also is like a nice holiday kit containing 3 full-sized ones of these. So there's cherry, the minty one, and the pinky one. So if you are a huge fan of these or you've been wanting to try them, get that kit because I believe you can get a good deal on it. So in the launch of the Fenty Beauty lip liners, these launched as well, the Gloss Bomb Sticks. These are now my favorite lipstick product from Fenty Beauty. It just combines a lot of my favorite things when it comes to lip products. So that glossy finish, high pigment, very comfortable on the lips. These also don't have any plumping product in it whatsoever, and there's not like an absurd sniffy smell. It just smells kind of fresh. A lot of her products smell off to me, but these ones don't, thank goodness. But these are my top 3 favorite shades, and I think they're like the Fenty classics too. Is it Fussy, Hot Chocolate, and Fenty Glow? Those are my top 3 worn shades, but you can just see the high shine and they feel so comfortable on the lips. They don't apply too thick. Now my all-time favorite glosses are the Haus Labs one, and I'm so happy I found this shade. It was in a purse I wore like once in the summer. I thought I lost it, but it's the shade Macaron, and that's the lip gloss I'm wearing in today's video. So if you've been liking the shine of my lips and the color, that's what I'm wearing. It's like a really nice soft cool pink, but it just fills in the lip lines so beautifully. It just makes your lips look so nice and hydrated and plumped, and they do feel quite nourishing for just a lip gloss. But my ultimate favorite shade is Fig. This is my favorite lip gloss ever. It's the most gorgeous color. Oh, it's delicious. It looks so amazing paired with so many different lip liners. It's constantly with me. Like I said earlier, I'm a black honey addict, and thankfully they have multiple finishes in black honey for lips. So I love all of these, but definitely get whatever finish you prefer. So this is the newest one to the family, and she's also permanent now, which is really exciting. It's the Black Honey Lip Oil. You can also use it on your cheeks as a blush. Then this is the classic Almost Lipstick, which is the OG. So pretty. And then we have the Pop Gloss. And as you'll see, these all have different intensities as well. Here are the 3 formulas. So lip oil, Almost Lipstick, and gloss. The Almost Lipstick is the sheerest, the most pigmented but the lip oil sits somewhere in the middle of them too. And I kept these ones for last so I could swatch them all. These are the Kulfi Beauty Lassie Lips Staining Lip Oils. What really draws me to this formula and this line are the shades. They have definitely some of the most unique lip staining colors. Some of them varying from really pretty fall colors to some interesting cool tones, as you'll see. So here are the 4 shades I find to be the most unique. So down here, this interesting purple is Lucky Lotus. This really pretty mauvey shade is First Sorry. The middle one on the top row is my favorite, and that's Black Cherry. Oh, isn't it gorgeous? And this last one here, this bronzier kind of cool toned brown, is Tamarind. And they have such a nice sheer kind of ethereal look on the lip with these really interesting tones. I don't know if they've sat long enough, but I'll quickly wipe them. Oh yeah, they stain quickly and very similarly to their top layer, which is always the true test for a lip stain for me. Oh, they're just so stunning. And those are all of my top recommendations for this time around. Let me know if you're going to be participating in the sale and what do you have your eyes on. I would love to know in the comments down below. But that's going to be all from me. I'll have everything I talked about listed and linked in the description box down below, so feel free to check that out, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!